Because I know we all respect authenticity here on the interwebs, I'm going to be real with you about my chicken keeping medicine cabinet. Because here's the thing, this is it. It is this enclosed bin that I keep in my chicken yard. I suppose we'll start with my most used products, which are ivermectin pour-on. This is actually a product that is meant for use in cattle. Here's the bottle. It is an off-label use to use for chickens. I use it to treat mites and lice. On the label, it is said to treat internal parasites as well, roundworms. I have found that the roundworms on my soil must have a resistance to it because it does not work to kill roundworms. Ivermectin pour-on works really, really well for me for working with mites on the bird. Next, we have Corid. Corid is used to treat coccidia, which I believe is the #1 killer of baby chicks. There are proper dosages. There are proper dosage charts online that you can find. If you message me, I'll send you a chart. If you're a member of my Patreon, the chart is all over the Patreon. But it's a pretty simple search on like backyard chicken groups on like DuckDuckGo or whatever. Next, we have Elector PSP, which is also an off-label use for chickens. This is actually a premise spray. The active ingredient is this stuff called spinosad, which is like a naturally occurring organism that also doubles as an insecticide, which is great. It is an organic approved gardening insecticide as well. It's also in some like dog dewormers. What I'm trying to say is it's a really safe product and it's really, really effective against lice and mites. I prefer to use Elector for lice and ivermectin for mites. The thing with Elector is that it needs to, okay, so ivermectin works, the ivermectin pour-on by seeping into the skin of the bird, and then when the parasites bite the skin and they get the blood, come into contact with the blood, they come into contact with the insecticide that way. The Elector PSP works when the solution comes into contact with the parasite. So you mix a solution of 9 cc's Elector PSP per 1 gallon of water, and you have to make sure that that solution saturates anywhere on the bird, like down past the feathers to the skin where the parasites are. The cool thing about Elector is that it's a one-time treatment because it also kills the parasite eggs. Also in here, I have this Wormer Deluxe powder. This is my current favorite dewormer. I get it from Jed's Avian Supply online. The active ingredients are oxybenzole and praziquantel, if I'm saying that right. Anyways, it's a 2-day treatment. 1 teaspoon per gallon of water for 2 days and then treat again in 21 days, which is interesting because most treatments say 10 days. I also have Terramycin ointment. This is, I don't even think you can get this over the counter anymore, but this is an antibiotic ointment. It can also be used in the eyes, which is really useful. Poultry Cell is a multivitamin. What else? Garlic. I have some oil of garlic, which is a natural immunity booster. I, above all things, try not to use any antibiotics for any reasons on my farm. And whenever I notice that there is, or the potential for an uptick in illness, I prefer to supplement the immune system before I would ever use antibiotics. I want to raise vigorous, healthy birds that don't need the use of medications to recover from illness. I have more vitamins and electrolytes. I do have some LA200 on hand, but if you'll notice, the expiration date is 2019, so maybe it's time to get rid of that. I don't really know. I don't really understand, like, are expiration dates suggested? Do medications lose their efficacy over time? I don't know. I also have some oil of oregano. This is also an immunity booster. Oil of oregano is a really spicy herb/oil. So if you use this in the water, it only takes a couple drops. And any of these herbs, it's not something that I would use consecutively for like a week at a time. I prefer to do like 1 day on, 1 day off, because there really is so much benefit of just clean, fresh water for our chickens. Oh, we have some ivermectin injectable. This can be injected in chickens, but it can also be given orally in a specific dose. And again, it's for the treatment of internal. Most people will give ivermectin orally, specifically when they want to treat internal parasites. Oh, ivermectin pour-on also treats scaly like mites, so that's cool. Next up, I have some Vetericyn, which is, it's an antimicrobial spray. This is a miracle spray. I have had chickens recover from the nastiest wounds. I had one chicken who something tried to snatch her through the fence and like basically decapitated her. Like her flesh was separated at her neck. I kept her outside in a safe in a safer pen. And I sprayed her with Vetericyn every day, and I did inject her with some penicillin to prevent infection and gangrene, and she made a full recovery. She actually is still here and still laying on my farm. I have some GuardStar Garden poultry dust. This is a permethrin dust, and I keep this on hand when I change out nesting boxes. I will shake some of this down on the ground, even sometimes on the premise. Permethrin is good against lice, mites. It's just a good parasite deterrent in the environment. It's not the kind of thing you want to use all the time. Remember, our chickens have like really sensitive respiratory tracts, and we don't want them breathing it. I also have some iodine for cleaning wounds, because did you know that hydrogen peroxide can actually kill also healthy skin, and it's just preferred to use iodine or something other than hydrogen peroxide to clean wounds. Now this iodine I would mix with water. I would water down if I were going to use it on my birds, and probably like a 10-to-1 ratio. You want the mixture to look something like a sweet tea color. Okay, I also have some fulvic mineral drops. For a period of time, I was putting these in my chicken's water every couple days, which is fine. It's just some extra vitamins and minerals. I was hoping that it would help them absorb the nutrients from their food even better. Next up, I have some Tia Garden here. Again, this is another one where the expiration date has passed in February of 24. This is one that I have on hand. I have heard and read all over the interwebs that this is the generic of Denagard, which is used for respiratory stuff. But again, I at all costs will not use medications on my farm, because I want to see how my birds recover from any illness on their own. And many things can double as respiratory illnesses. Many things can mimic symptoms of respiratory illnesses, and chickens have very sensitive respiratory tracts. So sometimes something different in the environment or in the soil can cause chickens to have sneezing symptoms. It's when you start to see like lesions around the head or face, or discharge from the nose and eyes, that maybe there is further cause for concern and investigation. And finally, I have a miscellaneous box of various size syringes. And this, that looks bad. But no, that really, I don't do drugs anymore, y'all. That is to get stuff out of bottles like this. And the other miscellaneous syringes are to apply like the ivermectin or whatever. Ew, that probably has iodine on there. I have some miscellaneous gauze and scissors, and there you have it.